you're going to see today is forms, elevation, grounding, and expansion foam. We're going to go through all of those sort of things with you. We have our footings done for our barbecue, for our fire pit. We have our coping poured on our pool. And now we've formed out all of our hardscape pads. We've done all the rebar, all the compaction, and we have everything set up for you to see. So it'll be a pretty cool thing for you to kind of check out, see how we square things off, see how we elevate the whole project, and make sure that everything is going to be executed appropriately, that when we pour that concrete, we don't have any mistakes, because fixing concrete is a big deal. Okay guys, so what we're going to be talking about first is the forming. So we want to make sure that what we're putting and where we're putting it is square, is offset from something that we know is going to be the fixed point, from a door, from a window. Is it square against it? So we'll actually use measuring tape. We'll check those measures, put string line to make sure that everything lines up appropriately. We want to make sure that when we pour that concrete in place, it's exactly where it needs to be. So we use many elements from the site to give us our points. We use the pool, we'll use the house, we'll even use a back wall if we have one, to make sure that all of our points are exactly where we need to be. On a form, we will do the footings and fire pit block off the pool and the house. And once we know that the fire pit is actually squared and in place, we can then form against that location. We'll still double check all of our forms to make sure that it's against the house and against the pool, but those are our square spots, so we know that this is being placed right. Once we do that, we can also check the forms to make sure that the forms themselves are square. We can use an actual square to check everything. We'll measure everything twice, so we're not dealing with issues later. Again, the biggest thing, don't want to do anything twice. Measure twice, cut once, right? That's what my dad said when he lost his finger. I'm kidding, that didn't happen. Number two, we want to talk about the grounding rod. The grounding rod is essentially something that's going to absorb electricity if there's ever an issue. If there's a short in a wire, if there's some sort of electricity that hits the water, that electricity is going to be absorbed to keep anyone who might be in there, God forbid, safe. Third thing we're going to be looking at. Like most material, a lot of things expand and contrast, especially when it has to do with water. We still have soil that goes up against this, and there's still soil underneath the concrete before we pour. So by putting the expansion and contraction foam here, as the concrete gets poured up against the pool, and then it shrinks as it dries, this will protect any issues from happening in that spot to keep this line looking perfect. Elevations. So we don't have the tool that we use for our elevation marker at the moment, but to give you a very, very clear indication of how we kind of pour freely without worrying about what level we're pouring to, very simple snapping line. So once we set our forms and our elevation with the actual elevating tools and knowing where we need everything to be, we'll then snap all of our lines wherever we don't have a form set. So as you can see right here, I'll take you through the project a little bit just to kind of show you what we're doing here anyways, right? So from this angle, along the line here, we'll be pouring a footing. We'll be setting up about 2 rows of block and putting in a fence along this whole wall. That kind of eliminates the old fence. It's not my problem anymore. We then have our hardscape going across this whole spot. We'll be stopping the concrete here, and just a really cool line going all the way across. This is going to line up really nice, as you can see that whole thing, right? Clear line, all of this is concrete. Everything behind me will be turf. It'll have some contrast to it. It won't look like concrete jungle. You don't want that. Obviously right there I showed you we have the fire pit, and then directly in front of you, lining up really nice, making sure all of our lines are nice and clean, we'll have the barbecue facing right there. Along this whole wall we'll be installing a planter, and then we'll be putting cypress along the whole wall in the planter to kind of green that up as well and make it a little less stark to look at. Beto right here is installing the expansion foam, and what he did is he actually sprayed some glue on there. Just a spray glue, sprays that on there and sticks it right onto the concrete, so we're not nailing it in or creating any void in the current concrete. A lot of people will nail it in, and that'll cause cracks and stuff like that. We don't like that, so we glue it right on. The concrete itself will do all the work and compress it and keep it nice and clean. Also over here, what you can see is we actually put sand in the middle of the forms. So what that sand does is it keeps, the 2 forms are sitting here and the concrete's gonna be poured against this side and this side. And instead of compressing the forms together, that sand will keep the forms exactly where they are, and it'll also allow for an easier removal when we're ready to take them out as well.
What is it?
All the forming around the fire pit does not look square at all.
Okay.
That's what I was telling you to check yesterday.
I'll check it out. Let me just this right here. I'll jump into it.
I'm glad we caught that. That's what we try to avoid. For me to do it twice, I will be very upset.
Absolutely.
So the blue that you see here, it's the ocean. That is glue. And what we're doing is we have an existing footing and we're pouring a new footing against. So we want to make sure that there's enough adhesion in that space. Eventually that those two slabs will not pull apart. So even with, we've dabbled in some new rebar into the existing footing and we've put this glue on there. So that way when we pour that concrete, there's the rebar that's keeping that concrete there and the glue, keeping a strong bond to it, okay? A little bit of education on the concrete finishing. So the first thing we do is we compact the base. Then we put in our rebar, and then we screed it with a 2x4 or whatever tool we have to get it level, okay? Then we float it with a Fresno, and then with a trowel, we finish it. And that's basically what we're doing. So I'll also kind of tell you, this happens more like an assembly line, right? You have multiple things happening, and basically everyone goes through the process individually. When you see the concrete being poured, there's guys all the way behind you that have screeded, floated, and are now finishing, right? And it happens in stages. Everyone's going to go like this and complete it in proper order. We fill these little canisters with gas, right? And then we'll spray the forms as a release agent. So we'll pour the concrete, spray the forms, so when it's time to remove the forms, it won't stick to the concrete and it'll be easier to move. Hey guys, Jason here. I want to say from the bottom of my heart, I'm really appreciating all the support you guys are doing. Definitely getting the likes and the comments and subscribing, and I really appreciate it. Your support's my motivation to keep on rolling with this. So the more you guys keep on supporting me, the more I'm going to be loving doing these videos for you. As long as I bring you value, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Tell a joke. The best one, they got everyone laughing. And I mean everyone. Everyone. There you go. Was my mom used to tell me that she had eyes behind the back of her head. I thought mine were blind. That's it.